We've got new updates for HAMRS, understanding Messi and Paoloni Coax sizes, and how not to drain your battery when operating mobile, this time on Mailbag Monday. Well, hello, good ham radio operators. My name is Mike, K8MRD. Thanks for tuning into Ham Radio Tube. We've got 3 fantastic questions to talk about while I 3D print some things on my 3D printer. So let's dive right in. This first question, this viewer is asking, I hope all is well and you are in good health. Yes, I am. Thank you. Been pretty tough in Florida in Pinellas County after 2 hurricanes. Yeah, that sucks. Water inundation into all rooms, including the shack. Well, I'm still on the air, but had a question that has stumped my boggled mind. I just purchased the HAMRS app in the App Store and set it up, but I do not see a way to sync my HAMRS ADIF from my Mac running Sequoia. I went on a few sites, but did not see a remedy, only feature requests. I am probably missing something, but my life has been a bit upside down after the storms. Do you have any suggestions? Yes, I do. Stop trying to use a portable logger as your main logging software. But there are a couple things you can do, and the first thing I want to touch on, we'll head over to the internet machine, to the HAMRS website, and see what they're doing. So Jarrett has been working on some updates to HAMRS. He DM'd me a while ago, let me know about this new release. And if we're just on the HAMRS website right now, right here, try the all-new HAMRS 2.0. Let's click the read more there. He says, I'm happy to finally release a beta version of the brand new HAMRS. And down here we can see ship updates as fast as tests can pass and builds can be created. Sync, better error handling, update POTA reference databases quicker for offline use, ADIF imports, custom user log templates, and just generally be faster and happier working on this little project that got away from me. So what this is right now, this is only an internet or a web version right now. It's in testing mode right now, but these are the things that are happening with HAMRS. So we will be able to have sync. Sync is something that people have been asking for since day one. It's finally coming, hopefully sooner than later on the actual build versions on the Mac and iOS and Android and Windows and all that stuff. So we will be able to sync our logs across different devices. That's fantastic. Another thing we can do, if we open up Polo, we can go to, I'm just going to pick this log here. Polo already has this. We can go to operation and we can add QSOs from a diff file, which is exactly what I did for every single one of these. This is my log from when I went to Galveston Island. Now, the one thing this doesn't do is transfer notes. So I was using my MacBook Air out in the field. I'm using my MacBook Pro here in the shack, and I did import this log from my MacBook Air, but it didn't copy this little notes here. So I had to go through my log and make a note for every single one of these so I could edit the video how I wanted to, and I did a how I edit POTA videos and things. So still not perfect, but you can import logs into Polo, as we will be able to do with HAMRS. And I get this question or a similar question a lot about being able to use Polo or HAMRS as kind of something it wasn't really designed for. We need to keep in mind that HAMRS and Polo are kind of like stripped down versions of logging software that only do exactly what we need them to do out in the field. Nothing more, nothing less. So if we want to be syncing our logs as like our main logging software, I personally wouldn't recommend using any one of these, which is why Rumlog NG for Mac is my main logging software. Everything I do on Polo, everything I do on HAMRS, those are great for their specific tasks. But at the end of the day, I'm going to airdrop my files to my MacBook Pro, and I'm going to import them into Rumlog NG, and then I'll send them off to Logbook of the World and QRZ, all that stuff. But one thing that Rumlog does, if we go up here to Logbook, we can see iCloud synced log. You have to turn this on and do its thing. But if we just type in KI6NAZ, and then I'll just hit tab to populate the fields, I'm going to hit enter. Now I just saved that. Now watch what happens on the other computer. Just like that, real live time, there it is on my MacBook Air. Synced over the cloud, Perfect, done, and done. So I would really encourage people to use two logging softwares. Rumlog doesn't have like the park-to-park things. It doesn't have everything that the Parks on the Air website wants to see in a log. I mean, you can still upload a log from here, but you can't log the park-to-park. So that's why I use Polo or HAMRS, and then I dump everything into Rumlog NG as my main master logging software because it does more than HAMRS or Polo. But when I'm portable, I don't want a big log with all these features. I just want to, put the call sign in, 5.9, enter, done, all that stuff. So download Rumlog NG, download HAMRS, which you already have, or download Polo. You can sign up for the new release, the test release of HAMRS if you want to try that cloud syncing and stuff. But keep in mind, it's web-based right now, so it might not do everything you need. But it's coming. It's coming. So just be patient, but download Rumlog NG anyway. Next, we've got a question about Coax. This viewer is writing, love your videos and thank you for everything you do for us in this wonderful hobby. Well, thank you so much. Lately, I've been watching your videos regarding the M&P Coax cables, as well as researching the products on their website, as well as Gigaparts. The main thing I need help with is understanding their M&P cable sizes in comparison to the usual RG213, RG58, and RG8X cable sizes. I'm interested in the Potaflex series for portable use, and after watching your video on how you rewired your home QTH antennas, I'm gaining interest in the cables that you chose to use. Thankfully for my home QTH, I don't need extremely long runs. For portable operations, I want to use something comparable to RG8X size cable, robust yet easy to pack up and fairly lightweight. And for home shack use, I need something that's direct burial. So Messi and Paoloni is really not that hard to understand. I would implore you to use the metric system. Everything in ham radio is metric. The world is metric. Even our currency is metric. And Messi and Paoloni being in Italy is also metric. So all of their cables are just metric sizes. And they have a 5mm, a 6mm, a 7mm, a 10mm, and a 13mm cable. So what that basically translates to is, so like RG8X is roughly a 6mm cable. In the Messi and Paoloni universe, that would be similar to their Hyperflex 5, their Potaflex 6, the Ultraflex, and Potaflex 7. They're all in that same ballpark when we're talking physical size. Now, they're all going to perform better than RG8X, of course. But then we get into like RG213, LMR 400. Those are 0.4 inch cables, which translates to 10mm. Or like LMR 600 is a 1/2 inch or 0.5 inch cable, which would be a 13mm cable. So if we head over to Messi and Paoloni's website, we can see one that I've changed my shirt because I had to reshoot this. We're going to go to Compare Coax right here. And then we're going to click Messi Calc Compare Values and create your own coax. And this is just their coax builder, so we can choose to do it in either meters or in feet. Let's just do it in feet for the sake of this video. And let's just put 100 feet. This isn't really pertinent, but we can see here in this choose cable field, we start with this Airborne 10, so we've got a 10mm cable, but notice it also says /.400. So there's that .400 from LMR 400. Same size cable physically, but you can kind of dive in a little bit deeper. Let's just put in a frequency here. And on the right hand, this is going to give you the statistics of this cable at this length, this frequency, this temperature, this SWR, so you can really calculate all of the different variables, and you can see which coax is going to suit your particular needs. And then depending on which coax you have selected, you can also go down here and click this data sheet, and that'll bring you the data sheet for the particular coax, for example, Airborne 10, and you can see all the different features and benefits and physical characteristics of the coax. Here they have the attenuation in dB per 100 meters and dB per 100 feet, so you can kind of learn about each individual coax. But in terms of physical size, so Airborne 10, that would be like their LMR 400, even though if you compare the stats, it's more efficient than LMR 400. Airborne 5, here we're looking at a 5mm cable. So in terms of physical size, this would be like the RG58. I think it's U, the thin stuff, or 0.200 inches, which is that RG58U. And again, here we can see the attenuation or the loss in dB per that 100-foot run that we've done. So 1.2 dB of attenuation can handle 653 watts. You've got the velocity factor of 85.6, 2,000 watts peak power, etc. Then you asked about direct burial coax. So that's going to be their extra flex bury. So they've got a 7mm, a 10mm, and a 13mm. And again, they've got the decimals in inches, so 0.4 inches, 0.5 inches, 0.287 inches. So the extra flex bury 7 would be 1mm thicker than RG8X, but much more efficient. So, and that's kind of how it goes along the gamut of their coax. Here's the PotaFlex 6, which I have been using a lot recently. This is going to be the same size as RG8X. Again, just more efficient. You've got two different, it's shielded 3 times. You've got a foil shield and then 2 copper braid shields. Again, you can click on the data sheet. That'll bring you directly to this page, so you can kind of see here it's got 19 copper wires, all the foil, the gas, the high pressure physical injected foam foam polyethylene dielectric. It's a tank of a coax. So when you kind of look around at this page, you can kind of see and learn the different coaxial cables that they have. But note that we're comparing physical size, but when you're comparing apples to apples with Messi and Paoloni in terms of size, they're always going to perform better than like the competition. Like, I've been to their factory in Italy. I've watched them test this stuff. It's, if anything, these numbers are a little bit conservative as well. So you might actually get a little bit more out of the coax than what they show. Another thing you can do if we go back to compare coax, this 50 ohm cable comparison chart, it's not a complete comparison, but you can kind of see, like, here's RG58 and they're comparing it with their Airborne 5 and their HyperFlex 5. So you can kind of see like comparable sizes of coax, and then, you know, all of their different features here. And then here you have the attenuation. So they're basically comparing RG58 to Airborne 5, HyperFlex 5, and then again, the dB of attenuation per 100 meters or at 100 feet. So the RG58 at, let's just say, 28 megahertz is 2.4 dB of attenuation at 100 feet, where the Airborne 5 is only 1.6 and the HyperFlex 5 is only 1.2. So the HyperFlex 5 is going to be the most efficient, but the Airborne 5 is going to be a physically lighter coax. It was literally designed to take on planes and be lightweight for guys doing de-expeditions and stuff like that. And you can scroll down, and UltraFlex 7 versus RG213. So you've got a 7mm cable versus a 10mm cable, and the performance is very, very similar, if not better, for the Messi and Paoloni, a little bit. But the size the size is really what makes this such an amazing cable. This is what I use at home. I use the UltraFlex 7 Sahara for my HF stuff. So I'm getting basically a thinner cable than RG213 with similar, if not slightly better performance. So, and you can scroll through here and kind of see different things, but that's the gist of it. So I hope that helps decipher the Messi and Paoloni coax conundrum. And as always, you can save 10% off on Messi and Paoloni either at Gigaparts using code MP10 or directly at Messi.it using code K8MRD if you're into saving money. If not, don't use a code and pay full price. So thanks for writing in. I hope that helped. Now I'm going to change my shirt and get back to the other video. Lastly, we've got a question about mobile ham radio. This viewer writes, really appreciate your videos. Thank you. I'm learning a great deal and enjoy them. Please carry on. Well, good. Good to know that we can carry on now. My question is, how do you suggest powering an all-mode radio like an IC706 on a mobile install for monitoring 2 meters, 70 centimeter while driving, and also being able to park at in POTA for extended times without draining my truck battery? Should I power the 706 from a LifePo 4 instead of using instead and use a PowerWorks DC to DC charger to charge the LifePo 4. So I do a couple different things with my radios because I have two radios. I've got an HF and then a VHF UHF radio. But I would say use a battery, which is what I do. So let's go out to my car and I will show you exactly what I do. So the way I see it, you basically have two options, and I can only tell you what I do, but hopefully you can take something from this. So underneath this seat, you can see this power cord here is the body for my Yaesu 891, and it just lives underneath the passenger seat. So when I want to run HF Mobile, I will use one of my battery boxes. This one just happens to be my 100 amp hour battery box, but sometimes I use a 30 amp hour. I've mostly gone to using this 100 amp hour battery box just because it's bigger, but 100% of the time when I'm operating HF Mobile, I have my 891 plugged into a battery. I do not have any connections whatsoever going to the battery of the car. For many reasons that I'm not going to get into. This is the way I want to do it, and everything else is irrelevant to me. The nice thing about having it this way, you can operate with the car off for long periods of time. I'll either use this or I have a 30 amp hour battery, and the size is really up to you and how long you're going to operate and all that stuff. But this is great, especially going on long trips, like going to Huntsville Hamfest is about 11 hours for me. So, I mean, I can have my HF radio on the whole time and not have to worry about it. It's just great. Now for you, if you want to run your radio off of your car's battery, you could run a separate wire to the battery of your car and back to where your radio is, and simply leave it unplugged or plugged in, depending on what you're doing. And you would just simply, with a power pole, swap out the cable, either coming directly from the battery to your radio, unplug that, and then because you'll have a power pole on your radio, you could simply plug that into your battery, so you can just swap it out really quickly like that. Should be pretty easy to do. Now, as far as charging, I have this little charger here. This is from Paradan Radio, and this just plugs right into the cigarette socket here. And this is a lithium iron phosphate charger. Now, it's only a 3 amp charger, so I don't generally use this just in regular outings, but when I did drive to Huntsville, Alabama, I had a 300 amp hour Bioenno sitting right there that was charging or powering my 12 volt cooler, and I had this connected just to keep the battery topped off until I got to the campground where I was. But if you're going on roves and things, if you have a smaller battery, you need something to charge, this is a fantastic charger. It is only 3 amps, but honestly, how much current are you really trying to pull from your car's electrical system? You know, your car's electrical system is designed to power your car, not so much charging batteries. So I think 3 amps is kind of really the most that I would want to put into a battery while charging. So that can just sit there, and I can plug it into one of the power poles over here and just charge away like such. And now you can see I'm charging. This battery is actually full, so I'm only putting 1.2 amps in there right now, but you get the idea. So if the car is on, you're driving, whatever, charge away, and you have multiple options for powering your all band, all mode radio while not destroying your car's battery. And generally for me, this battery or another one just lives here in my back seat all the time, so I don't have to worry about it. And my VHF radio, I do what everyone says not to do, and I've been doing it ever since I've been a ham. The VHF radio body is underneath my driver's seat, and I just ran a wire all the way back here and plugged it in to the cigarette lighter socket. I just spliced it out there, and no worries. I have never ever had any issues whatsoever with powering my 50 watt VHF UHF radio right off the cigarette plug. And the good thing with at least my car, when the car is off, it does kill power to the 12 volt accessories, so I don't have to worry about leaving the radio on and draining the battery. I do have the auto power off function on my Yaesu FTM 300 set to like 3 or 4 hours just to be safe, but that is what I do. So there you go. I hope that helps. I think, honestly, the best solution for you would be, like I said, maybe run a dedicated cable to your battery, if you can, your car battery, and while you're actually operating or driving for VHF, UHF, just use the car's battery, and then if you stop for POTA, plug it into the battery, or any combination of the two. But yeah, I ride or die for just plugging my VHF radio into the cigarette lighter. And it's been working that way since I became a ham. So them's my answers, and I hope that helps. But yeah, just get a battery, man. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. So thanks so much for writing in. And guys, if you have amateur radio related questions for me, shoot me an email at k8mrd@icloud.com. I'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, I will say 73, and thanks for watching another episode of Ham Radio Tube. We'll see you next time, 73.